Good evening and welcome to the Greenfield Public Schools School Committee meeting for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. This meeting is being recorded by Greenfield Community Television. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Not seeing any. Secretary Deneve, do you want to call the roll from your hotel room at the mask conference in Hyannis? Or would you like us to cover that from here?
I can do it.
Great.
Oh, great. Chair Johnson is on.
I am here.
Vice Chair Sexton.
I am here.
Secretary Geneva, I'm here. Member Childs.
I'm here.
Mayor DeSorger. Member Goodwin.
Here.
Member Martini.
Here.
All here except Mayor DeSorger.
Great, and the mayor let me know she may not be able to join us tonight, so we'll see if she joins. It's 6:31 p.m. and we have a quorum. We have some public comment.
Yes, Melissa Webb.
Oh, it went to red again. There you go.
I just saw on the agenda that Stephen was going to talk about the pilot program at the YMCA for swimming. And my son's participating in it for third grade, and they're having a blast. All the kids are looking forward to going. I think almost all the children are participating at Newton, besides one who has a broken arm. But they all are really just loving it, and I'm really hoping we can see it not just at Newton, but moving through the entire elementary level for our second and third graders. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment in the room? Is there any public comment from Zoom? Raise your virtual hand or otherwise call attention to yourselves. Not seeing any. We'll move on to the report of student representatives to the committee.
Okay, so I do have quite a bit to cover today, so I'll try to make it quick. But starting off with Student Council, the Student Council had a busy October. Members helped at the Moose Halloween Party, attended 2 unified basketball games as fans in the stands, and plans have started for the Thanksgiving pep rally. November brings lip syncs, dress-up days, penny wars, the yearly lock-in, and attendance at the fall conference at East Hampton. And then for Key Club, in October, Key Club students participated in the PTO Trunk or Treat in Kiwanis Club Trick or Treating. Currently underway is the food drive to benefit GHS families and families in the community. If anyone would like to donate shelf-stable items, there's a donation bin in the GHS lobby until November 17th. And for athletics, as fall sports come to an end, 3 of our teams have made the state tournament. Field hockey received a 17 seed, volleyball received a 22 seed, and girls soccer has qualified for states. Winter sports start Monday, December 1st. Go Wave. National Honor Society. In October, 23 new members were inducted into NHS, and they were welcomed with pumpkin painting at the first meeting. As the holidays approach, fundraising has begun for Adopt a Family, which locally helps families in need. The group is excited to, once again, participate in this great event. French Club. Club Français recently enjoyed, I'm going to try my best here, La Cuillette de Pomme at Apex Orchards, as well as Film Français Night. We look forward to our Table Française event after school on November 3rd, where we will play board games en français and enjoy a feast of Canadian snacks like ketchup chips, O. Henry bars, Pat Dur, and all things maple that Madame brought back from a recent weekend trip to Montreal. Mark your calendars for the Coffee House fundraiser on December 4th. Spanish Club. This year's Spanish Club has more than tripled its membership and has hosted a cooking night and club trivia night. Upcoming plans include more cooking nights, field trips, and fundraising for the trip to Spain they're taking in April. Drama Club. Drama Club is proud to present the fall production of Nightfall with Edgar Allan Poe by Eric Coble this Friday, November 14th at 7 p.m. and Saturday, November 15th at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. in the GHS Auditorium. Tickets are limited as we are presenting this intense and intimate show, black box style, and the audience will be seated on the stage with the performers. Tickets are $5 for students and $10 for adults and can be paid for with cash or check at the door. To reserve your tickets in advance, please email ghsdrawaclubtickets@gmail.com and specify the date, time, and number of student and adult tickets. Due to the subject matter, this show is recommended for middle grades and up. Library Club. Library Club hosted the 6th annual Comic-Con on Wednesday, October 29th. The cosplay fashion show was a hit, showcasing some truly incredible homemade costumes in the cosplay contest. The club would like to thank the sponsors, guest presenters, and student and staff presenters for making this event truly spectacular. A special thank you to several local businesses that sponsored this event by providing wonderful prizes for our trivia and cosplay contests. These businesses include Alchemy of Avalon, All About Beads, Federal Street Books, Goodies Pizza, Greenfield's Market, Greenfield Garden Cinemas, Shelburne Falls Coffee Roasters, Sophia's Pizza, Sweet Phoenix, and Village Pizza. Thank you to the Greenfield Public Library for providing the pizza. And finally, we have Art Club. This year, the Craft Club has combined with the Art Club to form the Arts and Crafts Club. Each week, members have the option of learning a new craft or working on their projects. So far, the club has done crochet projects, macrame bracelets, and soon the club will begin macrame plant hangers, sewing, and various origami projects. All right, with that being said, does anyone have any questions for me?
Questions? I don't have a question, but I sure appreciate you coming and letting us know what's happening in the schools. Thanks very much. Excellent. All right. We move on to reports of the administration and the business manager. Mr. Paquette?
Good evening. In your packets, you had the November 8th update as of November 8th. Just a couple things as far as when you look at it. We had the timing of the reporting. The city has not released, as I mentioned in the memo, the November 7th payroll, so that's a double hit on the bottom line and the local. So I put that chart in there to kind of give us a reconciliation with that still being the case. We still have, the city isn't closed FY25 yet, so there are some of those issues that are still that I reported last month here, but the little chart in the middle is a reconciliation as to where things stand with those issues as of November 8th. There's been no change in the special education tuition since last month, so that overage still stands where it's at. Other than that, as I said, it's early enough. There's no cause of alarm the way things are trending in the revolving accounts either. And so hopefully that when the books close, we'll be able to provide that report, knock on wood, by next month. I can answer any questions that you might have regarding anything.
Any question from Secretary Deneve?
Hey, Andy, I'm just curious, when do you expect FY25 to be closed out?
I can't answer that because that's on the city side. I don't know what the issues are. So, the city's the one that does the official closing. We're
Okay,
at
thank you.
their mercy, so thanks, yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Paquette? Member Goodwin?
Are the positions that are currently advertised on the website encumbered, or are they going to be added?
Any position that is active is encumbered. Any position that is posted, since there's no position, the salaries would be in the available column,
Okay,
but not encumbered.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. And I understand Mr. Paquette will need to leave the meeting at some point to take a call, but he'll be back, so. Great. And Assistant Superintendent Sullivan.
Good evening. Before I start my report for this month, I just want to acknowledge a service award. So we're fortunate enough to have Coach Al Dean here with us tonight. Coach Dean was 23 years old when he began coaching. He was born in Norwood and raised in Westwood. Graduated from UMass in 1968 and started coaching in 1969 when he was asked to coach middle school football. He started coaching varsity in 1981 and coached in the Greenfield Public Schools for 56 years. Coach Dean has been a staple of Greenfield High School football. He optimizes commitment to excellence and is the embodiment of what it means to play for the Green Wave. He will truly be missed, and we wish him all the luck, all the most possible luck in his retirement. So we have a certificate here for Coach Dean that our interim superintendent signed, and we have our athletic director, Coach Kay, here with us today. So Coach Dean, thank you so much for all your service. If there's anything you'd like to say, we have a mic ready for you.
I don't have a lot to say, other than I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you people. One of the things that I could share with you is that all the years I've been involved in athletics, and I also coached girls basketball and freshman baseball. Greenfield, I think, is the town of Greenfield, the city of Greenfield, the school committee has always supported athletics to, I think, a very reasonable extent. And that makes me, very proud to live in Greenfield. Obviously, I think athletics serves a really important purpose in students' lives, and especially today where we're facing, a population that's considerably different than when I started and started teaching. And today, I think sports and playing in a team means a lot to some of our kids. It provides them with I think, an organization that they don't always have in a lot of parts of their life. So I do want to thank you very much for your continued support, and hope things stay that way, I guess. Go Green Wave.
Green Wave. Thank you. Good night.
Don't get any ideas, Kaczewski.
The assistant superintendent is joining the Zoom, so I can then give him sharing powers for a presentation. So stand by.
All right, well, we're getting that queued up. I can start with the other parts of my report for tonight. So wanted to just provide an update that last Tuesday, November 4th, district-wide, educators participated in a full day of professional learning, very closely connected to our district prioritization focused on literacy, although there was a variety of options offered across the district. I included some highlights there from AEL through the high school. We also had Playworks in town to work with instructional assistants and school monitors, building-based subs, and our elementary PE teachers around adding structure to unstructured time, specifically around recess. But all the other PD really focused in on elevating literacy, specifically foundational literacy. Our focus for the past few years has been around improving literacy outcomes, but we've begun to even narrow that focus this year around early literacy. Our elementary schools talked about, you'll see the title, Precision, Urgency, and Purpose, elevating foundational literacy instruction for every learner. And the focus there was maximizing intervention blocks, that intervention time to support small group and individual student needs. Included in that is one of our priorities around utilizing data to make decisions both to improve student outcomes and to support growth in instructional practices. And there's some other PD listed that would happen throughout the day. The feedback has been positive. There's always areas that we can work on and grow, and we appreciate our staff for their commitment and attention on those and any professional learning days. We know how much is on their plates and asked of them already. And sometimes it feels like those days where you're off or you have professional learning can interrupt the flow, but our staff was great and attentive and gave us some good things to consider as we begin planning for the January professional development. Want to provide an update on a grant. We are in a good position to receive a pre-planning early college grant. This will allow Greenfield Public Schools to work in collaboration with Greenfield Community College. We collaboratively, the grant was originally due last week, but the grant coordinator has pushed that back, but we're in position to earn $25,000 to support the development of an infrastructure and strategies that will allow us to offer early college opportunities to more students at Greenfield High School and throughout the Greenfield Public Schools. The plan is that we would apply for a designation in the summer of '26, and if we receive a designation, the early college program would start in fall of 2027. So this is the sequence that DESE has outlined that public schools and institutes of higher education must follow. I'm also excited to announce that Greenfield Public Schools and the Springfield Thunderbirds are partnering once again on the Stick to Reading Challenge. If you remember last year, we offered a reading challenge between Thanksgiving and the New Year. This year, we're going to follow a very similar flow. Students kickoff event will happen at Turkey Trots on Tuesday, November 25th at AEL, and then Wednesday, November 26th at all the other schools. And then completed forms can be handed back on Tuesday, January 6th. Any student who completes the reading form will receive a free ticket to the Springfield Thunderbirds on Saturday, January 24th. And families of participants will be sent a link. It's really important, I'll start emphasizing it now, that when families and students submit their paperwork, that they write their email address legibly. That was a little hiccup last year as we were trying to track people down, because that's what the Thunderbirds uses to both give the tickets and reach out to families so that they can purchase additional tickets. But we'll be sending more information out to families in the next week. Ms. Webb also talked a little bit about the YMCA swimming pilot. So I agree with everything she said. It's a great opportunity for our students. The YMCA approached us last spring with an opportunity, and albeit it was late, it was like mid-May when we found out it was an opportunity, and despite our best efforts, we were not able to pursue it. They followed back up this fall. They had some remaining grant funds, and because Newton Elementary had expressed interest last year, we started with second and third graders at Newton Elementary. There were 55 students in second and third grade who are planning to attend. And the YMCA has also expressed an interest in pursuing future grants to help grow this initiative to students across the district. We'd love to see all of our students. It's such an important skill, especially in a place like Greenfield, where there's access to water in a number of ways to make sure that students are comfortable in and around the water. And the students who are attending right now seem to really be enjoying it. And even the teachers who are attending with them are coming back with positive experiences. So appreciate the partnership with the YMCA there and hope to see that continue and grow from here on out. I also included a link to our 2024-25 accountability data. And this is where I will share my screen, I think. Perfect. Okay, so this is a bit at a glance. If you're familiar with the accountability data, you can go pretty surface level and look, and there is information that's going to jump right out at you, but there's also opportunity to go pretty deep into this data. So I would encourage any member of the committee or public, if they have questions about this, certainly feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to try to support them with this. I'll go through some slides faster than others, but this is the accountability system that DESE has set up. In the past, people might remember different tiers where people were rated. It's similar to that, although this is bringing in more district and school performance measures than the previous accountability system, but it gives you an indication of how schools and the district are doing as a whole and what kind of support the school and district might need. This is,
Impressive animation.
yeah.
Literally huge.
Yes. This is a little bit of a crosswalk from our strategic plan and the accountability system. This is similar to what we've seen last year. The strategic plan, we're continuing down that path, and the accountability system hasn't changed. And this is just some information about accountability resources. The first link will take you to Greenfield's accountability overall the district. From there, you can go into individual schools, but you also have access to the DESE school and district accountability site, accountability terms, and then the statewide system of support, which you've heard us reference before. This is the really at a glance look. AEL is not, the accountability data doesn't go to the pre-K level, so they're not included in this slide. But we recognize AEL will play an important part in literacy and math and for students who go there. So I just want to make sure that people recognize that while they're not on this slide, when we look at this data, they are always on our mind. So you'll see some ups and downs over this is the past 3 years, different schools requiring assistance or not requiring assistance or intervention. This year, we have 2 schools, the Greenfield High School and Newton Elementary are requiring assistance or intervention based on accountability results from last year. You might recall last year, Newton came out before last year, and Federal Street went in, and Federal Street is now out, and Newton is now in. And that does happen from year to year. Schools can have significant changes. At the elementary level, a lot is reliant on MCAS results. So while we voted MCAS down as a graduation requirement, and the MCAS, especially at the elementary schools, plays a significant role in determining accountability, because outside of MCAS, there's only a couple of indicators that are considered, attendance being one, English proficiency is another, but it is really based on MCAS achievement and MCAS growth. And to make it even more challenging, our elementary schools only each have 2 grade levels being tested in MCAS. So if you have one grade who performs well and one grade who struggles, that's going to impact school-wide data. So, for instance, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade are not tested in MCAS, but they're part of a school that is rated based on how the third and fourth graders perform in that school. I listed a few highlights of our data. So for the second year in a row, Greenfield has made substantial progress, and these are, in quotes, these are DESI terms, so substantial progress towards our targets, which means we met or exceeded 56% of our targets. This is, like I said, second straight year of that, and this is up from 2023, where the district had met just 43% of their target. So, you know, there's plenty of room for growth, but pretty significant growth over the past couple of years. The next group here, they met or exceeded targets in certain categories. So the way DESI breaks it up is high school versus non-high school students. So when you're looking district-wide at non-high school, you're looking at grades 3 through 8. If you're looking at Greenfield High School, for example, Greenfield High School non-high school grades is just 8th grade. So if there's a place GHS made progress, in non-high school, that's just in 8th grade, and the high school considers. There are also additional indicators at the high school level, like you would see down towards the bottom, 4-year cohort graduation rate, the annual dropout rate, advanced coursework, are all additional accountability categories at the high school level. So some growth in all these places, and under more to celebrate, I just want to point out, I mentioned earlier, Federal Street School was in need of intervention last year. Last year, based on their data, they hit or exceeded 83% of their targets as a school. So significant growth. If I go back to this one, you'll see last year Federal Street was in the 4th percentile, based on just 1 year up to the 23rd percentile. So we're celebrating, but also acknowledging we know there's still work to be done. I also want to point out we've had a focus on students with disabilities. For the past few years, students with disabilities district-wide met or exceeded 58% of their targets, which in 2024, students with disabilities met or exceeded 7% of their targets. Areas in need of improvement, again, neither the celebrations or this slide is an exhaustive list, but chronic absenteeism continues to be an issue. While we made some progress in our lower grades, the high school grades declined. A 0 to 4 rating means that we declined. So chronic absenteeism is defined as missing 10% of the days you're enrolled after being enrolled for 20 days. So as usual, DESI makes it really easy to follow. But for a typical student who's enrolled in our schools every day, that's 180 days. Once you're absent for your 18th day, you're considered chronically absent. But if a student was enrolled for only 20 days, if they're absent for 2 of those, they would be considered chronically absent. So that's certainly an area. While we made growth in the elementaries and the lower grades, significant growth in some places, there continues to be work to be done around absenteeism. Achievement and growth, there's places where we were either stagnant or grew a little bit. So those are areas where continue to be in need of improvement or attention. High needs group and our L population, English language learners, did not make progress towards English proficiency. And then extended engagement is students who didn't graduate in their 4-year cohort, but also didn't stay enrolled. So there's an opportunity, because if you get extended engagement, that student who hasn't graduated in 4 years stays enrolled, works towards a diploma, you do get some credit for that. So again, these are all areas of work. And our continued work, so we've talked a lot about curriculum alignment, specifically with literacy. We understand that there's work to be done in different subject areas, but at the foundation, students need to be stronger readers, and a rising tide lifts all ships, and our focus is on literacy. And part of what we're doing, we had high-quality instructional materials in grades K through 8. This year, we've introduced a new ELA curriculum in grades 9 through 12. And we also, I announced a couple months ago, are the recipient of a pre-K literacy curriculum grant, where we're looking at high-quality literacy materials for our earliest learners. We recognize, again, that they are the foundation, and if we can build if we have a strong foundation, it's a lot easier to build upon. So we're looking at both horizontal and vertical alignment in those places. Our district-wide literacy focus is continued. There's a little bit around our focus around an instructional sequence. We do our benchmark assessment, we do our diagnostic for students who are below grade level, then we work on targeted intervention, and we're monitoring progress. I don't think what we're trying to do, especially in our early grades, is to set up the system so that there's a structure to it that I hope outlives me or any teacher or position, because the structure can stay, whether the individual or not does. And we recognize that this takes some time, but we've seen some progress already. I think our teachers have been fantastic in being open to this. It's a lot of moving parts, and it's a lot of new resources and materials for them. And we're working hard to support them, but it takes a willingness on their part to implement it and make it work. And what we've seen so far has been very positive. Again, it goes through some of the professional development that I shared earlier in the report. Data-driven through an equity lens. Again, this disaggregated data. Our students with disabilities, our low-income students, our English learners, students of color are not performing at the same levels some of our other student demographics are. So we have to look at the data as a whole, yes, but we also have to break it down and see where there's challenges and how we address those. Attendance and engagement, I talked a lot about before. We want to build on those improvements in the lower grades. We're really stressing the importance of attendance and the power of their presence in school. Again, we feel like if we start with our youngest learners, they're going to be in this routine as they become middle school and high school students. They're going to have heard that message throughout their entire career and history at the Greenfield Public Schools. And then strategic coherence and leadership, integrating our initiatives through a system, making sure that there's alignment between our strategic plan, our prioritization plan that we work with that SSOS team on, school improvement plans. That's something that we hadn't had school improvement plans, but principals and school counselors are developing them this fall. I anticipate those will be shared with the school committee soon. It is a little bit new. We had been working from the strategic plan as a global plan, which is a good place to start, but each school has some needs that are specific to that school, so the school improvement plan will target those. Using learning walks, our data meetings, professional learning to identify trends and share practices, adjust strategies. And then this year, we really want to empower our school and teachers to guide some of the implementation and build the capacity across the district, because they're the boots on the ground. They recognize the school needs, student needs, so we want to make sure that their voice is heard. And I referenced that before when I talked about professional development and the feedback from professional development. And I think the feedback's been positive, but there are places where teachers are giving really constructive feedback that we're trying to adjust, so when we offer the next round, we're meeting their needs. Happy to take questions.
Thank you. Yes, questions for Mr. Sullivan? I see a hand. Actually, if you can stop sharing your screen, that would help. That's okay. I can't see who that is, but I see you raising. Oh, it's Vice Chair Sexton, please.
Thank you. Yes, I really appreciate this presentation, Mr. Sullivan. We were really especially astonished by all of the information that you presented in not slide 7, slide 6, the highlights. But we were really curious to know for the students with disabilities, moving from 7% in 2024 to 58% of students with disabilities meeting or exceeding their targets seems pretty phenomenal and remarkable. And I would be so curious to know, like, what do you think were some of the sort of driving practices that allowed us to achieve this?
Member Sexton and folks in that room, it would help if you spoke directly into the computer because we could hear you, but it was just got really quiet. Go ahead.
I'll move a little closer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you repeat that, please? Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad this is better. We were looking at slide 6, the highlights, and the bit of information about the students with disabilities meeting or exceeding targets, noticing that it went from 7% in 2024 to 58%, which is just what you reported. And we thought that that was a pretty remarkable change for 1 year. And we were curious to know what you think some of these sort of like driving practices were that led to this outcome. And if that might be shareable or scalable.
Of course, and I don't think it's ever any one reason, and I don't think you or anybody is implying that. I think it always starts with our teachers and instructional assistants who are starting by building relationships and then understanding student needs. And I think the other thing that, and this came prior to me being in this role in this district, I think Greenfield called out some specific subgroups that were not performing in line with other subgroups. And I think the message that I heard loud and clear when I started in this role is that not all students are having the same experience in the Greenfield Public Schools. And I think that conversation doesn't start if you're not shining a light on it. And sometimes it's difficult to shine a light on some of the most glaring needs. And I think it's a credit to the district that they did that. And I think the teachers have taken that as a challenge that they've been willing to accept. And we're using a multitude of resources. Again, it's not just one thing, but I think we've tried to equip teachers with high quality instructional materials. We've tried to be thoughtful about the schedule at the elementary schools when students are getting pulled out for services so that they're still getting the core instruction and not missing that. And I know that's a challenge sometimes because we want students to have access to their specials periods and the intervention block that their core teacher might be offering. But sometimes we recognize if we need to fill a gap or support a student with a specific gap, if we can do it in a small chunk during a certain time, then hopefully that opens up opportunities for them to participate in the things they might be missing more regularly once that gap is filled. I also think with the core and pass assessment, that the diagnostic assessment that we introduced last year, I think teachers are getting some more usable data. It's not just you're below the grade level, it's saying you're below grade level and part of the gap is that you can't segment phonemes, you can't read a CVC word, which would be consonant, vowel, consonant word like hat, right? So the diagnostics are telling us that specific so that we can then target our intervention towards those specific skills. And then that also is helping students build confidence because they're having some success in growing it and building a new skill, which leads oftentimes to more success because now they're not avoiding the work or feeling like they can't do it. They have a small win that they can build on.
I'd like to follow up on that a little bit because I think one thing that I'm hearing from you is like the teachers have always been eager to help and to provide the interventions that students need. And it sounds like your basic summary is that there was some curriculum leadership that was provided and some tools to get more granular in the data that really played a key role. So I'm just want to applaud you and the superintendents for your work on that, and also just kind of highlight the importance of school leadership and in making a difference for our students. So thank you very much for that.
Of course, thank you. And again, I don't think it's one person or one initiative. Our pupil services department and leadership there has been thoughtful in how do we meet the individual needs, right? It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, and that's why some of like the school conversations when it comes to budget and things like that are so challenging, because it's not one size fits all. If it were, us along with the 340 other communities in Massachusetts probably wouldn't have the budget challenges that we do.
Other questions or comments for Mr. Sullivan? Not seeing any.
Of course, thank you, and thank you all for your support.
All right, we have our consent agenda, which includes approve the minutes of October 8th, 2025, approve amended family handbooks, approve the disposal of one Yamaha electric piano and one Wurlitzer upright piano. Are there any items that any school committee members would like to remove from the consent agenda and consider separately? Okay, I'd like to hear a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion from
So
Secretary,
moved.
motion from Secretary Geneve and a second from Member Goodwin. Any discussion? Secretary Geneve, will you call the vote?
Yes. Chair Johnson Basad?
I'll abstain.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mayor DeSorger?
Yes.
Member Martini?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
Passes with one abstention.
Great, thank you, and welcome, Mayor. For the minutes, if you can tell us about what time you joined the Zoom, that would be helpful.
We already noted it.
Oh, great.
PM.
All right, thank you. You guys are 2 steps ahead of me. Thank you. All right. We'll move on to Superintendent Search Committee, a search update from the Superintendent Search Steering Committee. Member Sexton, Vice Chair Sexton.
Yes. Thank you all so much, and I hope you'll bear with me. This is another rather lengthy update that does require a couple of votes, but we're going to get through this, I promise. So first, I just want to start by really thanking everyone who worked to make the community needs assessment activities, which included the 5 focus groups that we had discussed, as well as the community survey that went out, as well as interviews of the individual school committee members that were able to sign up for them. Across all of those activities, we had 147 responses, which I think is fairly remarkable, including 107 responses to the survey. And I really want to impress upon folks and be clear that when I say responses, I don't just mean maybe they answered the bubble question and didn't write any response. No, our community really put their heart and their thoughts and their passion and their belief in what our schools needs into these responses, and they had paragraphs, paragraphs on paragraphs. And so I was really pleased and impressed with the outcome of how much participation we were able to achieve with this effort. In particular, I want to call out Becky for helping us score pizza for folks so that we can feed folks when they showed up to the in-person focus groups. I also want to really shout out the participants. If you took the time to show up, I just can't thank you enough for participating. I want to thank the NASDAQ folks again for coming out and facilitating those conversations. I also have a handful of students, and I would love to congratulate them and appreciate them by name, because they came each of the nights that we had a parent focus group and a community focus group to offer free childcare just out of the goodness of their hearts. I think these students are members of either National Honor Society or Key Club, and so I'll just read their names just as a shout out for them and an appreciation of their willingness to give some time. So we've got Alice Wondolowski, Ryan Spofford, Paige Mitchell, Auburn Mass, Julia Beville, Amy Mihalichenko, Zarina Torres, Deshiana Davis, and Julian Sycom. And so if you're listening or if your family is listening, thank you again. Appreciate your time. And so that all of that information was then taken by Judy, who's our representative from NASDAQ, and put together in order to create the candidate profile. This profile really takes across all of those, elevates the things that we're coming across as real shared priorities or the key and crucial priorities that our community was identifying are sort of like really necessary for a future candidate, what they're looking for in a candidate, as well as identifying what our community sees as our sort of like core challenges and priorities for the next few years. The three themes that really came out as like these are the three top things that we're looking for in a candidate are educational leadership. I mean, this person needs to know what it's like to be in a classroom. They need to be prepared to continue this good work that we've been discussing to ensure that we are providing the best quality of education we can for all of our students. Inclusionary practices and collaborative leadership. Our community is looking for someone who is willing to reach out and say, can we work together? As well as someone who is wanting to make sure that the community feels a sense of belonging within our schools, as well as our students feel a sense of belonging in the schools. And then last but not least, I thought a surprise to no one, we're looking for someone who is skilled in operational management and someone who understands the business of what it means to keep buildings open day after day and get the work of schools done in an efficient and an effective manner. I don't feel the need to continue really going into detail unless folks would like me to read through the candidate profile. Hopefully folks had a chance to do that. At this time, I am looking for a motion to accept the candidate profile as submitted.
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Motion from Member Goodwin and a second from Member Childs. Discussion?
Great.
Not seeing any discussions. Secretary Geneve, will you call the vote?
Sure, 1 second. Yes, okay. Secretary name, yes. Vice Chair Sexton,
Yes?
Member Charles,
Yes.
Member Martini,
Yes.
Mayor DeSorder, Mayor DeSorder,
You're on mute, Mayor, if you're there.
Yes. Sorry for the delay.
no problem. Member Goodwin,
Yes.
and would the chair like to vote?
No, thank you.
Okay, it passes with 1 abstention.
Great. Continue, Vice Chair Sexton.
Excellent. So as another example of what I would consider fairly robust participation or interest from folks in this process and in our schools generally, is that we also received 21 completed applications for the membership on the Ad Hoc Superintendent Search Screening Committee. Again, just as a reminder, we had 8 seats available and 21 applicants. So I was really pleased with that result as well. And the applicant pool is outstanding. We have really, you know, quality folks who have been involved and around in our schools in a number of ways over many years and who have various vantage points within our community. We worked, the three members of the steering committee, myself, Member Child, and Mayor Disorder, worked really diligently to ensure that as we were deciding among the final 8, that we were working to balance the factors that we had discussed in our prior meeting, such as wanting to ensure that we had representation across our buildings and across our staff types. So whether they're a custodial staff or a teaching staff or an administrative staff or some other kind of person, whether we wanted to make sure that if they were going to be a parent, that we had good representation across the grade levels, as well as people to advocate for our students with disabilities and our multi-language learners. And we wanted to ensure that we had at least representation or some kind of person who would have perspectives around justice and equity and ensuring that we are holding ourselves to a high standard when it comes to really making sure that we are creating schools that are safe and create a sense of belonging for all of our kids. So with that being said, I would like to read off the names of the final folks that we chose. Let me just pull that up real quick. Thanks, Matt. I've got it right here. So I'm going to read a list of the recommended appointments to the Ad Hoc Superintendent Search Screening Committee. They are being read alphabetically by last name. And then immediately after I read them, I will be looking for a motion to approve that list as presented. So the members would be Tohib Bakare, Lamar Baptiste, Tara Cloutier, Alan Gates, Amanda Healy, Lucy Reinhold, Ashley Stemple, and Keith Urquio. These folks have all been contacted again. They have accepted the potentiality and they have confirmed that they are available for the dates. So assuming appointment, these folks would be ready to get started as soon as we are ready for them.
Okay.
Again, I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Member Goodwin and a second from Secretary Geneve. Any discussion? Secretary Geneve, will you call the vote?
I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Martini?
Yes.
Mayor Disorder?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
And would the chair like to vote?
No.
All passes with 1 no.
One abstention. I did not wish to vote.
Oh, did you abstain? I'm sorry. I thought you said no. Okay, passes with 1 abstention.
Great. Thank you all so much for that. And now if I am ready. All right, reviewing the remainder of the search timeline. So it's hard to believe, but we are rapidly approaching our application deadline of December 1st. That is the time when any interested person should have their materials into us. There will be 2 orientation sessions for the screening committee that we just appointed. They will be in the evenings of December 3rd and December 9th. These will be sessions where we will be developing some of the interview questions, as well as reviewing applicant materials and deciding who we would like to offer interviews to and scheduling them. So it's a fairly robust set of times. The week of December 15th, we will actually be conducting first round interviews with interested candidates, and then we will be deliberating on a set of finalists that we will recommend to the full committee. That will occur by the end of that week of December 15th. Before we go home for Christmas break, we will have this recommended list. When we come back after the holiday break, that's when we will start with our second round of interviews, and the full committee will then take over the process and work with the finalists to actually conduct and then choose the final candidate to offer the position to. I would be open to any questions about that search, about the remainder of that search timeline and when things will occur. And I think that That's it, unless folks have other questions related to the search that I may or not be able to answer.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Not seeing any. Thanks so much for your leadership and hard work, both you and the subcommittee that's working on this. Clearly, it's all in very good hands, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right, let's see what's next. We're on to school committee reports, and I just wanted to congratulate everyone who ran for school committee in the last election, and to congratulate the new and returning members. I thought it was very exciting that there was a really competitive race, and it sparked a really good dialogue, I think, in the community about the schools, and that's what we want. So appreciations for everyone who ran, and those who did not win. I hope you remain engaged and find other ways to plug in and contribute to the dialogue and to improving student outcomes in Greenfield. And I'll also say, reviewing our year-long agenda, it's a reminder that new members are eligible for Chromebooks and business cards, and the administration will reach out to you to see if you want either of those, so they can be ready for you when you start your term in January. And Member Martini, do you have a report for us from the Budget and Finance Committee?
No, the Budget and Finance has not met since our last school committee meeting, so there's not too much to report other than that we are carrying out the stakeholder budget outreach plan that was approved by the school committee last month, and I anticipate we will meet again in early December once we have conducted all of those listening sessions so that we can discuss the input we've received.
Thank you. Secretary Deneve, do you have a report from community engagement?
Yes, I do. In October, we met on the 28th in the library and discussed the calendar, which has now been created and is almost ready to be utilized. This calendar will allow our community to filter events by school, and will have all school committee meetings on it as well. This is in response to constituents asking specifically for calendars that will help them organize their family plans for upcoming school years and participate in events district-wide. We also discussed the city council plan to have precinct meetings with school committee members present. We recommend as a subcommittee that we make ourselves available to join and attend as needed, and we will obtain a better understanding of what these meetings entail, and we'll share that info when we have it. We also discussed having an extended public comment meeting for the purpose of creating more community engagement. We recommend that the full school committee support us in this by adding this to our charge as a subcommittee. Our motion is that the full committee empower the community engagement subcommittee to hold an extended public comment session as needed, and we will not have a meeting in November or December, and will reconvene the following year. Thank you.
Thank you. I was reading up on Robert's Rules of Order and learned that if a subcommittee made a motion, because it already has the endorsement of more than one person, then your motion doesn't really need a second. I think it's our practice, though, has been to ask for a second. So is there a second to Secretary Deneve's motion?
Seconded.
A second from Member Childs. Discussion? Can you spell out, Secretary Deneve, a little bit more about what you mean? So you're saying the Community Engagement Subcommittee would basically hold like a listening session that would be open to the whole community just to come and share open public comment?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And we have discussed doing it potentially quarterly. So I can say tentatively, our first one would be in the spring. If the Community Engagement Subcommittee continues to want to do this work next year, I don't know if I'll be on it, but this is what we have thought of doing. As just an opportunity to allow people to have more than the 2 to 3 minutes of public comment time so that we can more engage with, ideas that people may have that they want to bring forward, so that it's not so truncated.
Okay. Any other discussion or questions, comments? Secretary Geneve, will you call the vote?
Yes, I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Martini?
Yes.
Mayor DeSorger?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
And does the chair wish to vote?
I do not wish to vote. Thank you.
It passes with 1 abstention.
All right. Anything else, Secretary Geneve, on that?
Nope, thank you.
Okay. The executive subcommittee has not met since our last meeting. So we'll move on to old business. We have a review of year-long agenda. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the year-long agenda? Okay, not hearing any. We'll move on to the school committee, city council relations. So this is bringing back an item that was presented to you at the October meeting. The executive committee had met earlier that morning and presented a motion for your consideration, but members wanted more time to read it and reflect on it, so it's come back to us tonight. So that is included in your packet, and let's see if I can find it. The motion that we brought forward to you was move that the executive committee recommend that the full school committee, oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. It's item 2 for those who are looking at it. It says, it's an email to the school committee from myself, recommendations from executive committee. Item 2, move that the executive committee recommend that the full school committee endorse inviting the city council president along with any guests they wish to bring to attend an upcoming executive subcommittee meeting to discuss strengthening the relationship between the school committee and city council and to explore shared expectations for collaboration and communication at city council meetings. So I'd like to hear a motion to that effect. I see the mayor's hand. Do you wish to make the motion? We don't have a motion
No.
on the floor yet, so we're not discussing yet.
Undo, because you said,
So
I
moved.
so moved it,
Oh,
but we were
okay.
on mute.
We didn't hear you, sorry. Okay, so motion
Sorry,
from...
we were on mute.
Oh, motion from Secretary Geneve. Is there a second?
second.
Second from Member Martini. Discussion. Secretary Geneve, would you like to start since you made the motion?
It's interesting because here we are in Hyannis, and I just took a class about this morning, and it was maybe the best class I've ever taken at this conference. And it was all about working alongside municipal boards. And one of the things that I learned is that the superintendent is our employee and we're the employer of record. We need to keep that in mind. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is that we invite them and they invite us. So this needs to be a two-way street. So I think inviting them is a wonderful first step. And I hope that they will come to us with ideas about how they would like the relationship to go and ideas about how they would like reports to be shared. And I only wish for this to be about open minds and good experiences, because we really can work together, and there's quite a lot that we can do together. And we should have liaisons and people who move back and forth between these subcommittees of both the city and the school side, so that we can be mindful of things that are coming towards us financially, so that we can all be on the same page and support one another.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Not hearing any.
I think
Mayor.
Mayor just sorted my,
Go ahead, Mayor.
So, could you explain that again, Member Deneve? So I read about this as well. It sounds like a good idea with you wanted to have something where you have collaboration between two bodies, is that it? At meetings?
I'm sorry, finish, Mayor. I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were done.
Between two, like, community relations bodies, is that correct?
I don't mean just between community relations bodies. Maybe that's a place to start. But in actuality, the vision is to have side-by-side working experiences across the city departments and the school departments. We also utilize police and fire, plowing services, all of these things, same as you, just the city side. And so there's no reason why we cannot meet throughout the year about budgetary issues, find out what you are all thinking about so that we understand the municipal constraints that you have you send people to us so that you can understand the school funding constraints that we have. By doing this kind of reaching out together, we can avoid a lot of difficulties once budget time hits. So I think it's important to open the door however it needs to be opened. If it needs to start at community relations, that's fine. But I think that the vision is to go further than that.
Just a reminder, the motion on the table is about school committee and city council relations. So this is about inviting the city council president, along with any guests they wish to bring, to attend an upcoming executive subcommittee meeting to discuss strengthening the relationship between the school committee and city council, and to explore shared expectations for collaboration and communication at city council meetings. So it fits into a larger goal, perhaps about school committee and city relations, but this is more narrow in terms of this body and the city council, and inviting the city council president to come for a discussion with the executive committee about it. Member Goodwin?
So I read this, and then I sat down and read the charter. And so I guess the charter has us very separate. And I don't know the people who wrote the charter and what their intent was, but I think it would be worth a conversation with the people who wrote the charter. And my concern is also that, I guess I'm just thinking about, it wasn't okay for the city council to ask the school committee to come to, I mean, there's been tension between the two. So I'm just trying to figure out how this can work as well as be part of the charter. And are we talking about asking for a charter change? Because it really does have us as two separate bodies, except for budget time.
I'd like to respond to that, but I do see Member Martini. So let me just first say that there are some legal reasons why the school committee and the city council are kept separate in the charter. It is really a statewide mandate that the school committee really be its own separate body with its own autonomy and authority over the budget and supervision of the superintendent. And I feel like there have been some norms in Greenfield that have kind of made that a little bit fuzzy, because it's almost as though we have felt required to attend their meetings and send our superintendent to report to them, when, as Secretary Deneve mentioned, according to the law, the superintendent is supervised by the school committee and only the school committee. I think that's part of what we're trying to address here, is how do we have a good relationship, stay in good communication, take advantage of the generous offer of the city council platform to achieve our own goals as a school committee without creating any kind of gray areas between as far as who really supervises the school system. So, Member Martini?
Just to clarify, this is about getting the leadership of the school committee and the leadership of city council in a room to talk about how to work better together as co-equal partners. Is that fair to say?
Yes, yes, and I think
Then
co-equal. Oh, sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
100% all for it, and I see absolutely no reason not to support that idea.
Thank you for that. Yes, and I think co-equal is a good word because it kind of speaks to the separation of powers that are really built into the charter, and for a reason. They both to comply with the state law, and also out of it understanding that the school's interest and budget are just a different animal than other city departments. So, Mayor?
I agree with Member Martini. I support that as well. I just, where I do think I have a point of difference, however, is I support what it says in the city code that at city council meetings, it clearly states in the code, it's section 565-8, that at the city council meetings, and unless they change the code, communications from the superintendent of schools and the school committee, and then questions from the council for the superintendent of schools. And so, but I agree with the whole rest of this. I think it's wonderful to have communications between the two bodies. So I will vote in favor of that. But I believe that the superintendent of schools should be invited to all of the meetings because that's our law. It's an ordinance that was voted on.
Yeah, and I don't know whether that was tested in terms of whether a body like the city council can vote and require a school committee to attend. I think that they certainly have control over what's on their agenda, but for example, the city school committee can't pass a vote and put it in our operational rules that the city council must represent at school committee meetings. So I think that's kind of a question. Member Martini?
Aren't these kind of two separate issues as to whether and how school committee responds to the regular invitation from city council to participate in their meetings, and whether or not to get school committee and city council leadership together in a room to talk about how to engage as co-equal partners again? I feel like those are two separate issues.
I think that's correct, and I accept the correction. We should probably keep our comments more focused on the motion at hand. Member Mayor?
I was not trying to mix those two things up, but I think I think they did get mixed up. So I was bringing up the element of confusion because if I didn't misunderstand this, I believe our superintendent was instructed not to come last month, whereas for 25 years, the superintendent's always been invited to come to the school committee meetings. And I think he's done a fabulous job with that and that he should continue. So I'm bringing it up because I am delighted to have this collaboration. I think it's a fabulous idea. I think that we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
And just to clarify, several months ago, I did instruct our superintendent to stop attending the city council meetings because I did not feel it was in the best interest of student outcomes or the school committee. I accepted a correction from people that I had acted somewhat unilaterally on that, And so last month, when the executive subcommittee met, the other motion that we brought to you was that the full school committee assign a member to present an update on the superintendent's search process to the city council at their October meeting and to respond to any related questions on behalf of the committee. We made that motion during the discussion. We made it clear that we were recommending sending a school committee member, not sending the superintendent. And so it was the school committee as a whole that voted to send a school committee member and not the superintendent to the October meeting. So I just wanted to make that clear.
For October. Thank you.
For October.
Chair.
Yep. Any other discussion? Mayor, your hand went up briefly and then went away, and you're still off mute, so I'm not sure if you want to speak again.
I'm all set.
Okay. So again, just as a reminder, we're voting that the city council president, along with any guests they wish to bring, attend an upcoming executive subcommittee meeting to discuss strengthening the relationship between, well, we endorse inviting them to discuss strengthening the relationship between the school committee and city council and to explore shared expectations for collaboration and communication at city council meetings. Secretary Denis, will you call the vote?
Yes. Secretary Newman, yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Martini?
Yes.
Mayor Disorder?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
And does the chair wish to vote?
I do not wish to vote.
Okay, it passes with one abstention.
Thanks, everybody. Let's see. You know what I need to do is rip my agenda off of the packet. Okay, that will help. Let's see. I think we've already discussed the precinct meetings. And so now we have planned for November City Council meeting, whether and whom to designate as a representative, approving specific talking points. Does anybody have a motion for whether we should have a representative at this November City Council meeting and what they should discuss? Mayor?
I move that we send to the ask the superintendent of schools to attend the November meeting. And another representative of the school committee if they wish to attend. I think Member Sexton attended last month. Member Sexton did a marvelous job. If somebody else wants to take another turn, I'm happy to have that. Or if Member
Let's
Sexton
see
wants
if
to
there's
go
a
again.
second for your motion before we get into
Okay,
discussion. Let's see, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second from Member Childs. Discussion. Mayor, back to you. Do you want to share your thinking?
Our superintendent did a fabulous job and was very well received.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I don't know whether the superintendent will be back or when does he return, do you know?
I don't know exactly.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
I would anticipate by next Wednesday, but I don't want to speak for him.
Okay. Member Goodwin?
I think people would love to see that beautiful slideshow about the MCAS test or the results of accountability.
Okay, so that's a discussion item kind of separate from the, I don't know, separate from, I guess the mayor's motion didn't include the content for what the superintendent would be discussing. So if you wish, you could ask the mayor if she'd accept that as a friendly amendment, that presentation on the data be presented. if you wish, Member Goodwin.
Mayor Disorder, would you accept a friendly amendment? And I'm making that amendment based on maybe the superintendent may not be present, and maybe our assistant superintendent could give some attend.
Mayor?
Um, So, that's fine by me.
Okay, so the motion is amended to include the content of the superintendent's presentation would be the report on the accountability report presentation that was given to us tonight at the school committee meeting. Any other discussion? Vice Chair Sexton?
Sorry, I was just like trying to get our attention.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry, is the motion that the superintendent is to go and present the MCAS data? Or is the motion that a school committee member goes and presents the data? Or is it that both people go and present the data?
Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe your motion was to both send the superintendent and a school committee member.
I made a motion that the superintendent go,
Okay.
and also I started to say, and then I felt like I was speaking too long, but I would welcome having another member go as well. I just didn't get that far. I would welcome another member going as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the motion as the recording secretary has it. I'm not sure they heard you because you weren't on mic. So why don't I lend you the mic to reread it? Hold on.
Thank you. I have the motion as we move to ask the superintendent to attend the November city council meeting and have an additional school committee member attend if they wish to.
And there's a friendly amendment to have the content of that be the accountability presentation that was given to us tonight. Member Martini?
I wanted to offer another friendly amendment and see if this would work, because it seems to me that the highlights from this evening's meeting are about the superintendent's search process and about the district accountability data. So it makes the most sense to me, if they are available and willing to do this, for Vice Chair Sexton to go and present information about the superintendent's search process, and for the assistant superintendent for teaching and learning to present the accountability data that he did this evening to the city council. No slight to our interim superintendent, but it just makes sense to me to do that this time.
Maybe before we amend the motion, we should check with the assistant superintendent if he has availability.
Yes, please.
Unfortunately, it's Wednesday, the 19th.
It's a week, yeah, a week from tonight.
Unfortunately, I do not.
So the assistant superintendent is not available. So we would be seeing if the superintendent was available when he returns. So let's see, I guess.
If I could,
Yeah, please.
not to prolong this any longer, I am available for the city council meeting in December, and would be happy to put that on my calendar if the committee so wished.
Okay, great. So we'll handle December at a separate motion or a separate time. So for now, the current motion, I guess the question, Jenny, our mayor, is whether you would accept a friendly amendment to include Stacy Sexton as a representative to update on the superintendent search process as well.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely. I just think it's important that, that we welcome the superintendent to the city council meeting. That was all. I think that's historically what we have done.
true.
But Member
Excellent.
Sexton did a great job.
Yeah.
And of course, and Member Sexton is doing a great job. I just like to say that, serving with Member Sexton on the superintendent search committee. I'm quite impressed with them. Wonderful, very welcoming, has helped me a great deal. So I think that would be very fitting.
Thank you. Any
So
other
that's great.
discussion? I'm not sure. I don't have a visual on the, oh, I see you now, Vice Chair Sexton.
Sorry, we're good. I just wanted to formally, verbally say, yeah, I can go next week.
Oh, thank you. Should have checked with you as well. Thank you very much. Member Martini,
Can we clarify what we would like the superintendent to cover if he is in fact available?
I think the current motion is to review the accountability presentation. However, the other option would be to see about the assistant superintendent presenting in December. So if that's our choice, then we would want to give the superintendent some direction on what to present at. Historically, the superintendent tends to share positive highlights from the Greenfield Public Schools and then accept questions from the city council on any topic that they wish. That has historically been the process. Member Martini?
So can we amend that motion as such?
If you wish, you can ask for a friendly amendment to direct the superintendent to present highlights from the Greenfield Public Schools.
I would like to proffer that as a friendly amendment to the mayor.
I accept. And I think that's a very good idea, Member Martini.
And I guess
Because-
I'm remiss in asking whoever made the second whether they accept it as well. I don't remember who seconded this motion, though.
It was me, and I accept it.
Okay, thank you, Member Childs. Mayor, I cut you off. Continue.
No, so to be clear, we're going to say highlights from the Greenfield Public Schools and a review of what was given to us by the assistant superintendent tonight in, I would say, whatever format he saw fit. And then Member Sexton would give us a review of how the superintendent search was going. Thank you.
I guess the question, part of one of the offer from the assistant superintendent is for him to be able to present in December since it's under his rubric as director of curriculum. So, or assistant superintendent for curriculum. So, do we wish to delay the presentation on the accountability data to December?
That's fine by me.
All right, and is it okay with you, Member Childs, if we remove that content from the presentation for the next week?
Sounds great.
Okay. All right, so to summarize, the motion is to send the superintendent and Vice Chair Sexton for the superintendent to share highlights from the Greenfield Public Schools and for Vice Chair Sexton to report on the superintendent search committee. I guess one question I have is, do we wish to provide any direction to the superintendent or to the vice chair about questions raised not provided in advance of the meeting?
I don't. I take them as they come, but that's me.
I'm not hearing any requests for guidance to the superintendent on how to handle that, so we'll let him use his best judgment. Any other questions or comments before we vote? Nan, do you have everything you need in this freewheeling discussion? Okay. Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
Yes. Secretary Geneva, yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Chandler? Yes. Member Martini?
Yes.
Mayor DeSorger?
Yes.
Member Goodman?
Yes.
Does the chair wish to vote?
I don't wish to vote.
It passes with one abstention.
Great. Let's see. All right. Moving on to procedures for adherence to open meeting law. This was a discussion I opened last month, and we deferred it to tonight's meeting. The question is essentially about how to handle when school committee members send emails to more than a quorum of the school committee on items that are deliberation, essentially, violations of open meeting law by email. The concern that the reason I brought this to you all to ask for discussion and some guidance on how to address this is that I think it sort of puts us in a bind. On the one hand, I think one way it's been handled in the past is I've seen where the school committee chair has actually filed an open meeting law complaint on the school committee itself. The other option sometimes would be for a school committee member to make a complaint against another school committee member about the perceived violation. I don't think either of those have been great options for us, and I wonder if the committee has other ideas of ways we might want to address that. Some ideas that have occurred to me is whether to include emails like that in school committee packets or otherwise post them in a place that's visible to the public, or other ideas folks have about how to address those kinds of concerns. And I just open it for discussion. Mayor?
We have I've had those happen quite a lot on city council. And I know that we don't have a clerk per se, but, and so you're the chair. The clerk would always say to us, she'd just send us an email and say, you cannot reply all. When I send anything out that's to everyone, I actually try not to say anything, send anything out too much. I'll put in big caps, don't reply all, but I think just an email to the person that says, do not reply all. You're not supposed to reply all. I think having a discussion about this, I'm glad that you're discussing it tonight. We don't want that to happen. We're having a discussion tonight to bring it to the front of everybody's brain. I imagine it's not anyone's intent to do that. It's a mistake that happens. We actually had somebody on our committee that used to forget, and he did it, a few times. It was accidental. He would reply and forget, replying all, and it isn't supposed to happen. And we don't have a complaint out there right now. We haven't filed a meeting, an open meeting law violation. Have we filed one?
Nope, there haven't been any filed recently.
So since you brought it up last month, have we had another one, Chair?
Well, I haven't, I guess it's kind of an awkward question, but no, I haven't seen any that's raised concerns for me in the last month.
So that would be my suggestion of how to handle it. I'm not sure if anybody else has other ideas.
Member Martini, And then I see from Hyannis, so we'll go to you next in Hyannis.
I was just going to say that I have also noticed improvement since we have talked about this several times lately, and I hope that it continues in that vein. Members need to understand that they cannot be sending substantive messages about things under the committee's purview. Email should be utilized for housekeeping purposes. And if you have something like information that you want to present to the rest of the committee, then send it to the chair so that it can be part of our meeting materials. And that way the entire public can share in that information. Don't be sending anything that is substantive or that would constitute discussion even from you to the rest of the committee. I don't think it's just an issue of reply all buttons.
Hyannis?
I'm really glad that Kate said what she said. Member Martini is correct. It's not an issue of reply all only. And I guess I will just say that everyone who comes into this committee is going to break open meeting law a couple times. It's just how it is. It's hard to learn it and to get used to it. The issue is not that when you break it, you're not told that you did. You're told you broke it. Somebody will say, hey, don't do this. The problem is when it's repeated over and over after you've been told. So that's why I think that this has come up. We've had at least 5 in the last year where somebody has been told, do not do this, and continues to do it. So I certainly don't like the complaint process. I've never seen anything good come out of it, but I don't know any other way to make people understand that it's not appropriate to violate open meeting law. Especially sending opinionated missives via email. As Member Martini said, you can easily have these ideas put in the agenda, and you should, so that we can all discuss them together as the team. Thank you.
I guess I'll share that one concern I've had is that the purpose of the open meeting law is for the public to be aware of discussions between school committee members. And so, especially when it's a repeated event, the public is still being left out of that information because they don't know to file a public records request on something that's happening, an email communication that's happening just between school committee members. And so I think it may be worth including those emails in the packets for the school committee meetings, because I think the public has a right to know about those deliberations, even if they otherwise would not be made public. But I'm open to other people's ideas if people disagree with that, and we can explore that if the committee is interested in that. Not hearing much interest, but Member Martini and then Hyannis.
If you have an idea on how you would word a motion like that, I think I would support it.
I could certainly bring one back next time. I just would probably want to consult with council about that. Hyannis?
Like what you're saying, I think including the email in the packet, that is a clean, tidy way of doing it. And so a motion that I would bring is to direct the chair to consult with legal to come up with wording to the effect that emails in violation of open meeting law will be included in the meeting packet in order to make them kosher, except in legalese.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Member Deneve. Discussion? Secretary Deneve, and then Member Martini.
I think this is a great idea and I definitely support it. But I wonder if maybe a solution to this is to have a little bit of internal discussion or training about how to put items on the agenda. Because if people are feeling like they're having to get their ideas out by violating open meeting law, maybe it's just because they don't understand the procedure to put something on the agenda. It's just a thought, as we'll be having, new members, and we want to make sure that everyone feels included and that their ideas can be heard and put on the agenda. It's important. We're all allowed to be on there. So I would maybe also find a way to include a little bit of time on that so that we can be better versed in procedure.
Okay, Member Martini, and then the mayor.
I had similar thoughts, keeping in mind new members coming on. I think that it's a great idea, of course, to post all information that members have seen or been asked to consider about items that are under the committee's purview. That should definitely be available to everyone. And at the same time, I wouldn't like anyone to interpret that as permission to just go ahead and do it. I would like people to please not do that by email. Do not email the entire committee about anything substantive. You keep that to scheduling and other kind of housekeeping things. And I think it would be a good discussion to have about onboarding as well as refreshing existing members in regards to open meeting law and about how to get their information and concerns heard on the agenda. We do have a process for that. It is spelled out in the member handbook, and it's not hard to do, and it's very democratic. Folks just need to learn the ropes, So I think it would behoove the committee to have a discussion about onboarding and also a refresher for folks. I would also just point out again that the last time this committee did have an open meeting law complaint, the committee proposed its own solution to the state for that, which was to bring in a training so that people could ask their specific questions about OML that maybe are not answered by the requisite training that's proffered online by the state, and we never did actually bring that training in. So just saying it again.
Thank you, Member Martini. Mayor?
So putting the email in the packet and not filing the open meeting law complaint would seem to me like not the best idea, because you're announcing, okay, we did this, but we're not filing the complaint. So if there was a violation and you're putting it forward in the packet, in that case, we actually should have filed, I would think. So I find that, I think I checked with the attorney before doing that.
Yes, that is what the motion is to direct the chair to consult with the attorney about whether and how to make this particular motion.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. I'll just say I noted two different things that I want to touch on when we're done with this motion. One is the open meeting law training, and the other was how to get an item on the agenda. So we will discuss those items. Is there any other discussion on the motion to direct me to speak with council about this proposed motion? All right, Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
Well, I'm sorry, I had one more thing that I wanted to just say very quickly.
Please.
In order to do an open meeting law violation, you have to send in your complaint within 30 days of the violation. And so if we go this route, if we're putting the emails into the next meeting's packet, if we do want to make a complaint, we may come up against that 30-day deadline. It could be a difficult thing. And then I would also just say that if you do make this mistake, it's not the end of the world, but the best course of action is maybe to say, I'm sorry, I didn't know, then learn what you did and then not do it again. But not acknowledging that you broke open meeting law, to me, that's the worst part of it, because you can never say that you care about the public getting all the information that they're owed. If you do this and then do not own up to it, we all make this mistake. We can just say we're sorry and take accountability and move on. But if we do really have a legitimate complaint, we may have problems with the complaint process with the state because of that 30 days. So I just want to say that so that we understand that process.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Secretary, will you call the vote?
Yes. Secretary Denny, yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Martini?
Yes.
Mayor DeSorger?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
Would the chair wish to vote?
I do not wish to vote.
It has all passed with one abstention.
Okay. Related, I'd like to hear a motion to direct the chair to coordinate an open meeting law training for the spring of 2026 for the school committee.
So moved.
Motion-
Second.
Motion from Member Childs and a second from Member Sexton. Discussion? Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Childs?
Yes.
Member Martini?
Yes.
Mayor DeSorger?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
And does the chair wish to vote?
I do not wish to vote.
Passes with one abstention.
Okay, next, how to get on an agenda. I discussed this at the January meeting. I believe I've shared this information several times since. I'll say it out loud now and then also propose a motion about it. The way to get an item on the agenda is to email the school committee chair and ask him to put it on the agenda, or her or them. I'd like to just say for the record that I have put items on the agenda that I did not like, that I would not choose to put on an agenda, and that it invited a lot of controversy that I did not think was a great use of the school committee's time, but I honored the wishes of members to put items on the agenda. We can at least have it on the agenda for the committee to discuss whether they wish to deliberate something in more depth. So that's the process. I guess and I actually, if any member has a record of requesting something to be put on the agenda that I did not, please let me know. I have a few weeks left in my term to correct that, or at least apologize. I always wish to put school committee members' items on the agenda if they are as much as possible. Sometimes there's something that gets in the way of that, such as the law or what have you, but in general, if school committee members want something on the agenda, I will put it on the agenda. So I guess the motion would be for the policy committee to amend or to look at our policy, I'm sorry. Let me talk a little before I try and make a motion. What's the name of our handbook? It's just the school committee handbook, Secretary Deneve? All right. So a motion for the policy committee to review the handbook for a procedure for school committee members adding items to the school committee agenda and to make any recommendations for additions or amendments. Is there a motion? I heard a motion from someone. Who was that? Vice Chair Sexton. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Secretary Deneve. Any discussion? Member Martini?
Having been on the handbook committee when this was drafted, I just wanted to clarify for folks that the chair does have a role in making decisions about what should or shouldn't go on the committee's agenda based on what is or is not under the committee's purview, which is sometimes difficult, especially for new members, to understand nuances about, and also whether it aligns with the annual calendar and what's on the committee's business at the present time and things like that. They need to make decisions like that. However, so I do think the chair should feel free within their duty to the group to say no if there's something requested that's not necessarily appropriate or not at that time. However, there is still a process by which that member can bring their item to the committee for the committee to decide. So if the chair disagrees with this member about what they want on the agenda, then the issue still gets brought to the committee for the committee to decide whether it wishes to take this up or not. So everybody has a chance to get everything heard that they want to get heard in this process.
Any other comments? Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
Yes. I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton.
Yes.
Member Childs.
Yes.
Member Martini.
Yes.
Mayor DeSorger.
Yes.
Member Goodwin.
Yes.
Does the chair wish to vote?
I do not wish to vote.
Okay, passes with one abstention.
You went quiet, but did you say something?
Passes with one abstention.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion related to procedures for adherence to open meeting law? Thank you, everyone. That was very fruitful. Appreciate the constructive conversation. Next item is Chapter 70 funding. So at our special meeting, the committee voted to create an ad hoc group to work on talking points related to Chapter 70 funding so that we could send an in-person representative to the hearing that was held at Greenfield High School. I want to thank Member Childs for speaking on our behalf at that hearing. I heard great reviews and appreciate your public speaking, which I understand is something that many people despise. So thank you for doing something that many people despise to advance the interests of the school committee. As part of our ad hoc meeting, we thought it would be good to also send a former, I guess I should say also on talking points and speaking at hearings, Secretary Deneve is scheduled to speak on our behalf as well at the virtual hearing on Chapter 70 funding that's coming up. So thank you for agreeing to do that, Secretary Deneve. And as part of our meeting, we agreed it might be useful to send a formal letter on behalf of the school committee regarding the potential new formula for Chapter 70 funding. A draft of that letter is included in your packets. I would like to hear a motion to approve the letter as presented and direct the school committee chair to send it on behalf of the full committee.
So moved.
A motion from Secretary Deneve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Second from Member Childs. Discussion?
No, just thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right. Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
Yes, I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton.
Yes.
Member Childs.
Yes.
Member Martini.
Yes.
Mayor DeSorger.
Yes.
Member Goodwin.
Yes.
Would the chair wish to vote?
I do not wish to vote.
Passes with one abstention.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, we have a discussion of seeking a social media impact report for the December full committee meeting. What metrics are important to us? Engagement, views, reach, top reposters, others. School committee should think about their specific questions they would like this report to answer. Is there the person who put this on the agenda? Is there a motion you wish to make related to it? I'm not really sure.
Hi,
Vice Chair.
I'm the one who, yes. I'm the one who motivated that we have this because I have heard questions come up from folks before sort of asking about what is the return on investment, or what can we see are some of the impacts of our social media strategy, which is fairly new. Our Facebook and Instagram pages are relatively recent. And so I think that I think that it is good for us to periodically review these things to make sure that they are working as intended. And sort of like strategize if there might be something that we need to do to boost engagement with those mechanisms.
Your audio's
Because
going in and out.
Oh, no.
Mhm. That's better.
Saying that, saying that, that really this is my desire to see us have a periodic review of these sorts of things. If we're going to bother to have social media, then we need to bother to figure out if it's actually being useful.
Can you face
And
the
if it's
computer or?
engaged. I am as faced to the computer as
Oh.
I can be.
Okay.
It's electrical interference from the room's heater.
Apologies, we're turning the heating off now.
Okay.
But essentially, yes, and I will also share that I believe that this originally emerged out of a conversation that occurred in the community engagement subcommittee, because we were talking about ways to engage the public and how to get information to people. And then that led to a curiosity about what are engagement numbers looking like with our social media? Is that an effective way to get messages out to our community? Do we know if they're being seen? Do we know if they're being shared? That kind of thing. And so my desire to put this on new business now is with the anticipation that this report will be given to us at the December meeting. We have an opportunity now and between now and then to formulate more specific questions such that the report is actually useful to us and answers what we want to know to the best that we we are going to want it. Don't work that in advance is all. So that's really the desire. I'm not sure if there is a motion. The report it's going to be in the reports of the administration, I believe, sometime next month. And so I guess if we do absolutely need a motion, I
don't
would
think
look
so.
for
I think we could I think what you're saying is if the committee can have a discussion and the items that members raise are included in the minutes, then the administration can use that in creating their report for December.
Exactly.
Okay, great. All right, so discussion items. Do folks have thoughts and questions? Member Goodwin?
Well, will there be a cost to finding this information out?
I think what you're saying, Vice Chair Sexton, is that this report is going to be created and presented next month. Is that right?
Yes.
So I
And
think, yeah.
I mean, in the sense that anything we direct any of our administrators to do costs money in terms of their staff time, yes. However, this information should be relatively easy to access for the people who are actually managing the accounts that can see the dashboard, like engagement numbers on the back end.
Member Goodwin's asking, who is that? I
Who
think
is that?
that
Who's
is our,
managing that?
I believe that is either that is some combination of Ian Edwards in our IT department, as well as I believe our social media accounts are actually being managed by someone who works at TMS.
and Mr. Paquette's nodding, so yes.
Great.
Mr. Paquette said no cost from TMS.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Paquette.
Do the committee members have any other questions or things they wish to have addressed in the report?
I can share as an example. I mean, there's the standards of how many people do we have who are liked or followed or subscribed or some other way getting regular messages from us. But I also am curious about the per post engagement numbers and if we're seeing increased engagement over time. I'd like to know if the things we're putting out there are being shared into other groups, if we can see that, or if there's a specific type of information that seems to be most engaging or useful. Essentially, my big question is, if we're going to pour the energy and the time and the resources into having a social media presence, is that currently working out for us? And if not, what might we need to do to make it work out for us?
Thank you. Other wishes, questions, comments? Secretary Deneve?
I don't think we have very many followers, but I don't really care about that because social media grows over time. So the more you work it, the more you get from it. So my main concern is not how often we're using it or what platforms we're using, but rather how much it's costing us to do it. I think that it's something that shouldn't cost us very much at all. And I think it's also something where we could get some help from our school community, our students. We could broaden the whole idea of how we interact with social media. And I think that we need to open it up into other avenues of thought, how we do this. But having social media is really important. I just sat in a class today where they talked about how to engage your school community with your social media. So it's not a should we, it's more for me, how much does it cost? So I want to know how much we pay for it.
Thank you. Mayor?
Are we archiving all of the posts, the Facebook posts?
That's a good question. We can certainly ask them to be prepared to answer that question in December.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you very much for bringing this to us, Vice Chair Sexton. And
Great.
thank you
Thank you
to
all.
the administration for preparing to report to us in December. We are at 8:32. Everyone's entitled to a 5-minute break, and I desperately need one. So we will return as the clock is turning from 8:37 to 8:38, and be prepared to restart our meeting at that moment. Welcome back to the Greenfield Public Schools School Committee meeting. We are on item 9, new business. Item B, update to policy AC, non-discrimination. Assistant Superintendent, would you cue this up for us?
Of course. So again, as part of the integrated monitoring review that we're undergoing, a self-assessment was submitted last spring, and we're getting feedback from DESE and places to make adjustments prior to their visit in December. One of the pieces today, and I will, full disclosure, our attorney has not had a chance to review this yet. So I just want to make sure that is clear. But we have to upload a policy approved by the school committee that includes a requirement for an annual evaluation of all aspects of the K through 12 school program to ensure that all students, regardless of race, color, sex, gender identity, religion, national origin, or sexual orientation, are given an opportunity to participate in all programs offered by the school, including athletics and other extracurricular activities. We also needed to include language around English language learners, that they have full access. So Mr. Messing and I are suggesting the policy language update to AC. You'll see in your packet you have what the current language is, and then what our suggested language is for number 6 in AC, and then number 7, an addition for English language learners. But again, our attorney has not had the opportunity to review this yet.
Okay, also included in your packet is our policy adoption policy, just to review the process. It used to be called the first reading and a second reading. Now it's a three-step process. The information item is distribution with the agenda, so that has been accomplished. We're now on discussion item, and as I understand this, we would wait for the action item for a future meeting. I did check with the superintendent that this isn't urgent for us to do, so it could, we can add this to our December item for a discussion, adoption, or rejection. So we're now reading the proposed policy or policies, hearing a response from the superintendent, report from any advisory committee assigned responsibility in the area. We don't have that. And committee discussion and directions for any redrafting. So I guess the item is just a discussion item to see if the committee has any discussion they wish to have about it and any directions for redrafting. Any discussion? Not seeing any and not seeing any requests for redrafting, so we'll just bring this back to the December meeting for the action item, discussion, adoption, or rejection. Thank you very much. And now we're on to the first read of draft competency determination.
The first read of the next iteration of the competency determination. As you recall, you voted last spring to come into compliance after last November's vote to remove MCAS as a graduation determination. There was little guidance from DESE at that point. I shared in a meeting earlier this year that guidance came out over the summer in mid-July. And we've drafted this competency determination. Our attorney has reviewed this and has some questions about it as well. I'm getting feedback from high school counselors. I have some feedback from a member of the committee. And other stakeholder groups, because this will be the competency determination for the class of 2026. Now, I also want to note that on Friday, I attended the superintendent's roundtable where Mary Burke from the Mass Association of School Superintendents and Glenn Kuchar from the Mass Association of School Committees were both present, and they said that the graduation standards, they expect to go to the governor by December 31st, but won't likely go in front of the Board of Ed until April or May. So this will not be our last tango with competency determination. So we need to take a vote by December, our December meeting, to get into compliance as of December 31st. But again, I anticipate we will continue to revisit this.
So for tonight, you're just looking for questions or comments?
Happy to field them tonight, or in any way the committee sees fit. If people have questions over the next couple of weeks, happy to take them either over the phone or meeting, whatever works best for you all.
Great.
But I would like to have a draft here for vote at our December meeting.
Member Goodwin?
I think the draft looks great. And the question is, have the teachers looked at it and agreed with it?
I think the teachers have looked at it. It was presented at a faculty meeting at the high school specifically. I've met with the guidance counselors a number of times. They've had some questions, as I have, and we've been able to work through most of them. I think some of the questions right now lingering have to do with part of what we need to do in this is determine mastery. So the state hasn't necessarily defined that, so different districts are defining it differently, and I think that's one of the places that we're trying to get some clarity or shared understanding of it. And some suggestions that have come from the state and others are that you pass the final exam or you've completed a capstone project at the end of the course. So those are some things that are currently in there. But it's evolving a bit, and we've made some tweaks along the way based on feedback.
Member Goodwin?
I think it's going to be a living document. I remember when Vermont went to the portfolio system, it changed for 4 years before they finally decided. So is there a way that the state would accept that this, I mean, you're trying to teach while the train is running, and determining which road you're going on is, I'm just, it's a draft. It's definitely a draft. And you
Agreed.
have to submit it.
And I hate to sit in this seat and say part of what we're doing in December is to come into compliance, but I do think that's a part of it, is we have the guidance from the state. The document that we have would bring us into compliance, but I also think it's part of a larger conversation, which is why I've tried to involve some other stakeholders and be open to feedback as we get it. I do agree that we're going to be revisiting this probably in the not too distant future.
Maybe the next decade.
Any other discussion? Secretary Deneve?
I just wanted to ask Assistant Superintendent Sullivan if he has heard about of the Massachusetts, the MCIEA, which is the the new state accountability board, the consortium.
I'm sorry, I missed part of the question. Have I heard from them? Was that?
Have you heard of them? Have you ever worked with them before?
Is it the consortium working on performance assessments?
Performance assessments and competency determinations?
I have heard of them, yes, but haven't worked with them directly.
Okay, I'm just curious because I knew that this topic would come up, so I wanted to try to take, like, we try to take the courses that work with what the district needs while we're here, and so I took one today. So I'm going to send you that information because they're doing new competency determinations, and it's a new free program from the state. And I just hadn't heard if our district had had any chats with them in regards to the same issue.
Happy to look at any resources you might have received.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thanks so much for bringing that to us.
Of course, thank you.
Right, I would hear a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares, and 7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant and aid requirements.
So move.
The committee will return to open session. I have a motion from Member Goodwin. Second.
Second.
Second from Vice Chair Sexton. Any discussion? Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
Yes, I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Phillips?
Yes.
Member Martini?
Yes.
Mayor Disorder, did she leave? She left, okay. Member Goodwin?
Yes.
Does the chair wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
Okay, it passes and we are adjourned at 8:49.
And we will return to open session, so stay tuned.
Wow.
Great. Are we live, GCTV? All right, great. Welcome back. We had our executive session, and we have now on our agenda item 11, vote to accept the memorandum of agreement between the Greenfield School Committee and the Greenfield Education Association Unit A teachers. Is there a motion to approve? A motion from Member Goodwin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Member Childs.
Correct.
Okay. This was basically a way to address an inaccuracy in the way things were copied from one year's contract to the next. So that will be available to the public after our vote tonight. But it was primarily an administrative error that we've corrected with agreement with the unions. So is there any other discussion? Okay. Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
Yes, I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Childs? Yes. Member Martini?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
Would the chair like to vote?
I do not wish to vote.
It passes with one abstention.
Thank you. And without anything else, I would hear a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
I heard a motion from Member Goodwin and then another motion from Vice Chair Sexton. I think we'll call that a second. Any discussion? Secretary Deneve, will you call the vote?
Yes, I'm a yes. Vice Chair Sexton?
Yes.
Member Childs? Yes. Member Martini?
Yes.
Member Goodwin?
Yes.
Does the chair wish to vote?
Yes and yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. We're adjourned.
At 9:12 p.m. we are adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody.